And you got quite a bit of heat as well for comparing the Third Reich and the Third Wave together on Twitter.
I think it's um, an appropriate analogy, Jeffrey.
Hmm.
The Nazism was a you know, conformity was its highest virtue. And the image that I put out there showed the level of conformity that was in play. And you have to remember, Nazism didn't happen overnight. It took some period of time, from the
Yeah.
late 20s and early 30s through to its eventual Holocaust. But there was many steps along the way of obedience and conformity, and a lot of people don't realize this portion of the analogy. Much of the policies of Nazism were based on public health. Their public health system were the ones who um, established the eugenics program, and they're the ones who suggested that other races and other people were unclean and were a danger to society. Um, and and there was a very significant um, restriction in academia that prevented people from speaking out about these things. So um, there's a great deal of um, similarities, in my view, between now. uh, Many of my detractors um, thought they were disingenuous in saying that I was equating the Holocaust to today. That's not what I said.
Hmm.
And it's not what the image portrayed. It was the many steps of conformity and obedience that I was making the analogy with.
No, that's perfect. I wanted to give you that chance to explain that because yeah, I did see a lot of comments saying like Holocaust and lockdown not the same thing at all. But I did actually just finish this book called Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which is like 70-hour audiobook or something. And it
Yeah.
was yeah, like I can see and I noticed like with the censorship of the media and the way they're kind of controlling the narratives, like for example that girl who came, I think it was in Washington, and she said hydroxychloroquine and zinc
Yeah.
fixes this, and then they just got rid of her from the internet, like she's gone now, and like the controlling of information, stuff like that. I was seeing that as they were sort of explaining Joseph Goebbels and his like propaganda machine and how that worked and how they were controlling information and made it so that no other source of information was available to the German people except for the Nazi journalism, which made it seem to all of the Germans that like pretty much all of Europe was attacking Nazi Germany, and it wasn't that Hitler was kind of reaching out and trying to attack other people, right?
Yeah, there was only one narrative allowed. No, there was no competing narrative, and that's what we're seeing here in Canada. We have the censorship of the mainstream media. That's clear. There is the deplatforming and censorship on the social media. I was even banned from LinkedIn. Like, whoever gets banned from LinkedIn, I've been suspended multiple times from Twitter and Facebook. And but then the greater censorship is our self censorship. Um, there are millions of people in this province alone that I am clearly, I can say, oppose these measures, but are reluctant or fearful to speak truthfully about it because of their fear of being marginalized um, and being attacked.